by yourself. And our goal is that over time, you all become the experts on your individual PMCP and that you know far more about it than I do. So there's a strange background noise I'm hoping we can get rid of. Okay, I think it's stopped. Okay. So I also want to give you a few updates on the PMCP system. The system that you all will get if you turned in your PMCP decision-making form by the deadline that you'll get for your community event, or as soon as possible after that if you weren't able to get it in on time, is really sort of what we're calling a sandbox, meaning it is a functional system. We do want you to put in real data and to make matches, but our plan is to have a much more robust system ready for you by the end of your first 100 days. So by August of this year, we're planning to have a much more robust system. We now have an investment from Google to help make that a reality, and it's likely that we're going to have another software provider on board to really make this top-of-the-line system. So we realize that the system you'll be getting this May and or June is not yet the ideal system, but I do think it's a great sandbox and is a great way for you all to figure out exactly how PMCP will work in your very specific environment. So with that, if we can go into looking at the actual job description or the role responsibilities and training that we're going to provide. And I'm going to give everybody about 2 minutes to look this over in case you haven't. And then we won't go over it step by step, but we'll go over some high points, and then we're going to open it up for questions. And Jessica, how would you like to today lead us through this once we give everybody a little chance to look this over?
Yeah, I'd love to. They're doing some construction in my building, so that background noise is me. But I'm going to go on mute for just a few more minutes, see if that changes.
Okay. And if it doesn't, I'm happy to take the lead on it.
Okay, I'll let you know. Thanks.
All right. So Jessica, are you feeling you can do this, or would you like me to continue?
Yeah, it's still going. I'm so sorry. If you don't mind.
Oh, no worries. All right. So, I think the primary role of the PMCP lead, obviously, is to be the liaison between your community and Community Solutions, and then also potentially, if you're working with Alex at Atlas, and on all matters related to customization, refinement, and maintenance of your performance management and communications platform, or PMCP. And then, following training, you'll take the lead in future refinements, additions, and maintenance. And so, yeah, basically, over time, the goal is to make me, Jessica, and Alex obsolete so that you all feel that you have full ownership and mastery of your PMCP. So in terms of responsibilities, we've gone over sort of the first one already, that you're going to be talking a lot and emailing a lot with the three of us. We're asking you to participate in ongoing training and learning activities, and we'll get into those specific trainings in just a minute. But want to say that all of the communities are at slightly different places. We're going to be offering these trainings sort of on a loop. So it's not like, oh, you missed the training and you can never catch up. First of all, we'll be recording all the trainings, but more importantly, we'll be offering them all every few weeks. So you'll have plenty of chances to go to trainings. So we're basically, over time, going to help you become experts on every single aspect of your community's PMCP. And that means not just the front end, meaning the places that casual users will use, but also the underbelly, the back end, how all of that works and is put together. So if you can scroll down a bit. Great, and then as I said, over time we're going to try to help you become, take ownership on more and more pieces. Another part is that you'll either be overseeing, or if you're serving as the help desk staff, actually doing the help desk. And we'll go over that job description in a bit. And then working with the help desk staff when necessary to make refinements and additions to your system, and maintaining a web presence to house PMCP and all related materials. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So then we make a whole list of all the parts of the system that you over time will learn to make refinements or additions on. If you can scroll down. So yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the attributes. So we're not, you don't need to be an expert on computers, on IT, on computer programming, but you have to be comfortable looking at and working with data, and comfortable learning formulas and basic scripting and working in a web-based environment. Definitely looking for someone with attention to detail. And because it's not mostly an IT job, we really do need someone that understands the homeless and housing system in your community, or is able to quickly learn and remain up to date on your system. So we're looking for systems level thinkers and people who are patient. Especially during these first 100 days, there are going to be a lot of decisions your community is going to have to make, and it's not always possible to know in advance whether it's the right decision, and so there may be some backtracking on things. So for example, LA has had a few iterations of how they prioritize clients. And they may not even have that right yet, but they're moving in that direction. That's something that I think being patient and knowing that sometimes it is the 2 steps ahead, 1 step back is the way we're going to go, because we really are, disrupting your systems, almost building some new systems from scratch. So we're going to provide you a lot of training, and we'll go over all of the trainings a little bit later, but right here is a list of the ones. All but the last one, which is about creating a website to maintain all of your links and forms and manuals. All of them are ones that we're hoping the PMCP lead will do. So now I want to open it up to questions. And I know that questions have already come in, so we'll try to take these in an order. Great. So we've got a question, and I'll read the whole question. As far as questions for the responsibility of the PMCP lead, for HMIS administrators who are tech savvy but less proficient with Google Docs, will there be training on Google Docs provided to help with responding to complex help desk requests that involve changes to the back end fixing broken formulas and scripting? And the answer is yes. So you'll see that one of the trainings is called Working with Formulas plus Scripting. That'll likely we'll be offering that many times, and we'll likely end up splitting that into sort of basic, intermediate, and advanced. And we will also, though, have a manual so that all of the common formulas and scripting, you'll be able to look up what they need to be. So as long as you sort of have an idea of what you need to do, you should be able to find that, that scripting or formula in our manual. And we're doing our best to have 90% of that manual done and up by next week. There's a few parts that definitely won't be up, including some more detail about our interface with other systems like HMIS and HOMES. And that's just because we have to work with others outside of the group of 3 of us to sort of figure that out. But that will be coming in May.
Also, Paul, we can just reiterate that there will be another help desk on top of the help desk you guys will be implementing that will, for any real complex questions, you can elevate it to us and we can help you out further with that.
Yep, so you all will have your own help desk that your casual users and your matchers and community coordinators will send you all, and we've got this already up. We'll have it all up and running for you, and it's easy to use. And you know, the majority of requests are really things like, oh, can you provide me access? Or I'm having a issue with my connection, and they're usually ones that you'll be able to resolve. But yes, as Alex said, you can escalate them. You and your PMCP help desk people or person will have access to a special line just to me, Alex, and Jessica. So great.
Actually, to answer the next question by Lainey in Tucson.
Will you read the whole question, actually?
Oh, yeah, sorry. The question is, will we be able to have access to our peers across the country to problem solve as well as collaborate? And the answer to that is yes as well. Later on, we'll go over, as the agenda states, that our plans, or rather our intentions, to stand up something to allow you guys to collaborate. And along with the support you get from us, you'll also get support from each other in that form.
Yeah, and I think over time that's going to become even more important because this is a bit like an onion, and you'll run into new things. And a lot of times it's not technological as much, it's deciding the right policy or protocol. And you all have different strengths, and so our real wish and hope is that we're going to set up a platform so that sharing and learning from each other is going to be possible, and we're really hopeful you'll take advantage of that. So a question, can you recommend any books or sections from books to read up on Google Docs? That's a great question. I would say yes, but what we'll probably do is give you some links to some online. Google has some very good things about their most common formulas, and so we can go ahead and include that in our manual. So we'll at least have that for you next week, along with links on all sorts of things you can do with Google Docs.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think when we were trying to learn the system as well, Paul and I were looking for lots of books on the subject and couldn't find that much. And we ended up just finding everything through Google, which is ironic and also very helpful. So we'll provide you with all of that we found ourselves.
Yeah, but thank you for bringing that up, because I don't know that I would have remembered to say, oh yeah, there's these great links that will make your job and then our job easier. So thank you for asking that. Yeah, are there any other questions? Alex and I and Jessica, as she's able, are here to answer your questions. So while we're waiting, I'll go ahead and ask you all a question. And that is, and we asked this exact same question yesterday, but wanted to know, is this sort of, we'll just call it a job description for short, is it in line with what you were thinking it would be? And so that's, I guess, the first question. And then, if so, is this, does this have you freaked out? Is this what you were prepared for? Or do you have questions and concerns about specifically how you might make this role work in your community? And I want to say that, I think you all can be very creative. It doesn't necessarily need to be one person. It could be multiple people. So, I think we're open to all the possibilities, but we do think it's important that it be very clear what each person is doing if you're splitting it up among multiple people. So we've got a question. I think, let me see. I understand this is being recorded with the screen shared here during the webinar, which seems more the point. Is there a place to print these pages? So Lainey, we sent these out the other day, so you should have a copy of these in an email that we sent out on Thursday. If not, meaning we may not have had your email, if you can chat in your email, we can send these out to you afterward. All right, well, so Thomas Thiessen has said, yes, this is in line with what I expected. And no, it takes a lot more than this to freak me out. Well, I love hearing that. That was generally what we heard yesterday as well. We heard a lot of excitement and a lot of questions. And I think we're going to be on a journey for the next 100 days or so. But yeah, I think for most of you, this will over time make if not your job easier, at least how your system works so much easier. So I hope the trade-off is worth it. Is there anyone who who is a bit freaked out or wondering, wow, how am I going to make this work? Also, Atlas is willing and able to send out the docs to anybody who'd like it, who's on the call. So we'll go ahead and send out to Lainey now. But if anyone else needs them sent, if you'll just chat in your email address, we'll send them out to you. So any other questions, comments, or concerns at the moment? Great. So we may be able to move on to the next section, which, if I've got the agenda right, is to really go over briefly we've got someone, before we move on, we have someone who's feeling a little challenged. So it's good for us to know that, because we want to know if you're feeling, wow, this is a big job description, how am I going to do this? Because we are going to want to reach out to you and figure out the way to make it work. And in many cases, that may be involving more than one person in your community to do this. So we've got, I think probably the easiest thing is to talk offline. But we're going to note this, and I will get back to you. And I actually think we're maybe talking later today, in which case we'll go over it today. We have another question. We are using HMIS Service Point to coordinate our outreach effort. Can we import that into PMCP? So the answer is over time, very easily. But and in the short term, yes. If you're using the VI SPDAT, that makes it easier. But what we would probably do in the short term is, if your HMIS system can do it, we would have you probably put it straight into HMIS if that were easier, and then export it from HMIS and import it into PMCP. So we would just need to make sure the fields match, and that isn't too difficult at all. If it's easier, you could also put it into PMCP first and then upload it into HMIS. So we can discuss whichever one might work for you. So I've got from Lainey in Tucson that Tucson is not yet up to a coordinated intake, so this is going to be a huge task ahead of you. So would love the use of her peers and for all of our support since she's a bit nervous. Lainey, we've been there. Yeah, that's a big task. And you know, I think you'll be hearing the challenges, tribulations, and successes of these communities as they take their first steps working on using a common intake and a common assessment. As I guess everyone knows, you know, HUD is requiring it, but they also understand that this is a big shift for communities. So I think, you know, you can at least show you're taking a step in the right direction, and we'll be in touch. And probably your cohort lead will be especially supportive on helping you choose that assessment. Great. Yeah, I think one of the best things is we want this to be an open environment where you all feel very free to express your concerns and whatever's, troubling you around PMCP and whatever support, because we do think the answers are, with all of us. I think, Alex, Jessica, and I know a lot of things, but we're always going to bring it up, back to the group. How have you dealt with this, and what can we do? So I think there's wisdom of us working together. So another question, if you are using Service Point and have VI-SPDAT as a sub-assessment and are importing data and also have VA and organizations without access to HMAS importing into PMCP, how are you keeping duplicates from happening? So that's a good question. And for each, and we went over this on an earlier call, so I will say, if you did not attend the PMCP 2-hour demo, I highly recommend listening to that recording because that will get you up to speed on a lot of the more general and basic questions. And I'm wondering, Atlas, can you just put the website where they can find that on? It's, I think, www.25cities.org. So that is a resource for you. And that will also be included in the manual that will be out by the end of next week. But I'll go ahead and try to answer that for you. In each city, there will be, at a minimum, one community coordinator who, on any releases of information, will be getting will be able to link a unique client identifier to a specific person. So that person, either on a weekly or in bigger systems, maybe even just a monthly basis, is going through duplicates. Duplicates almost always tend to disappear by the time you get to case conferencing because it becomes apparent and you realize it. But yeah, I'll just say we've got in place a pretty robust way of finding and taking care of duplicates. But it usually involves, if there are actually two agencies working with the same person, sort of working between you. But that is something that we've worked with quite a lot. Yeah, no, I guess for those of you that who don't know, we are live in LA and Nashville, and so while we don't have everything figured out, we figured out a lot of things. So they were our guinea pigs, literally, and we're bringing sort of the next iteration of PMCP to you, and that's still not the final one, but we've worked through many of the issues that will be the same across communities. It's more the issues that will be unique to your community that we're going to have to work out with each of you. So great. So let's, if there are no more questions at this point, if we can switch to the job description of the PMC Help Desk lead. Great. And once again, I'm going to give you, 2 minutes or so to look this over. This position in some ways is similar to the other position, but this is a lot of day-to-day and small picture and detail, resolving issues on access and things like this, where the PMCP lead does a lot of the systems level work and the bigger picture stuff. So I'll let you read this, and then we'll go back in and discuss. Okay, and before we go into this, I'll quickly go over a few other questions that have come in. We are going to begin work on an HMIS interface in May, is what we're hoping. We're initially going to explore whether we can do a universal interface, meaning an interface that will work with all of the HMIS systems. We've got 11 different HMIS software providers among our 25 cities. So that would be awesome if that is possible. We're hoping that is. I can't commit to that right away. But if we can't, we will begin working, sort of one or two at a time, trying to help figure out elegant interfaces that, sort of automated push and pull for HMIS. And then I got a question, are there representatives from all 25 cities in this group? So at the moment, it looks like at least 20 of the cities are planning on using PMCP. We've got one community that, at least for now, is not interested, and then a few others that are thinking about it. But yes, all of you who want to use PMCP, you're going to be working with us step by step. And you'll be working together. And we'll get into a little bit more in the training piece in a bit, but I think you'll get a good sense of sort of how that will come together. So Jessica, are you in a position to go over this job description a bit?
I don't think so right now. I'm sorry, I don't want to annoy everyone.
No, yeah, that's no problem. All right. So I'm not going to go over this again step by step, and I will say during the first few weeks where you launch, this will be a busy position. But over time, especially when things are working well, and we assume by August when we've got the permanent version of this up and running, once people have been sort of retrained on that, this can be something that is maybe just 2 or 3 hours a week. So as big of a system as LA, after the first few weeks, it hasn't been that time intensive. And in the first few weeks, a lot of it is people needing help finding where things are. And so it's more of a training issue, which will be an issue in each of the cities, and figuring out, they need access and they're wanting edit access versus just the view access they've been given. So a lot of small things, but that really, after the first few weeks, if LA and Nashville are any indication, really slow down. So, yeah, so got a question. To get a better sense of scope, can we provide a couple of tangible examples? How often LA, Nashville do FISPED placements? How often are they matching? How many assessments are added weekly? How many staff occupy the PMCP lead and help desk roles? So it will vary a lot based on the size of your community. So in LA, I think we're probably averaging, 100 or so assessments a week that are coming in, and fewer assets are coming in, or they're coming in less frequently. Both places now are generally doing matching once a week, meaning they're looking for all of the, their most eligible clients for any of their units and trying to match them. But that will really depend on how much of this system you're doing and you're using at first, and if you're doing all of your populations or just some of them. So for example, LA has started with just doing access to permanent supportive housing. And so now, starting in July, they're going to really build out their rapid rehousing part of their system. So then that will mean, more time and, more users. And but, I think, and then Jessica is saying that Nashville averages 20 to 30 new assessments per week. So it really will depend, meaning help desk and PMCP leads, just to be clear, are not generally people putting in the assessments into the system. The system is designed so that those providers can put it directly into the system themselves. But of course, the more people who are using, the more people who will likely have questions, and so that does have an effect on the load for both the PMCP help desk person and the PMCP lead. But we've really tried to design the system so that it's very easy and very limited training you needed to put in an assessment, to put in a match initiation form, or to put in a vacancy form. So let's see. And then in both LA and in Nashville, they've divided up these roles. So, in Nashville, the lead, help desk, and matcher and coordinator are split up among about 4 people. In LA, it's a lot more diffused. We've got 8 community matchers. I'm sorry. 8 community coordinators. We've got a countywide matcher. We've got someone who heads all of the policy type work. And now we've got a new person coming on that's going to be helping with some of the more technical aspects of it. So while we're showing you 2 sort of job descriptions, that doesn't mean it needs to be 2 people, or that this couldn't be 1 person, or that you can't involve different people. It really will be what makes sense for your community. We're happy to help you think about it, but just see these things as, between, numerous people in your community, you do need a way for 1 or multiple people to cover all of these roles and responsibilities. So I hope that starts to answer your question. Great. Any more questions about the PMCP lead or the PMCP help desk, or the difference between the 2? And then just want to reiterate, you can make this 1 position. And if you've got, so I know like Denver, for example, is bringing on a full-time position, and they're going to do both the PMCP lead and the help desk. So that's a great option for them. You might have another great option for you, but just to give you a sense of what some other people are doing. Great. So we're running a little short on time, so I'd love to go to the next part of our agenda. So want to give you an overview of the training and training schedule. And can you bring up the training calendar? Yes, brilliant. Atlas, can you confirm for me whether this link is up or will be up on the 25 Cities website?
Paul, it's not up yet, but we can post it to the PMCP data tab on the website.
That would be perfect. And so, as I said before, we've got a full range of trainings, and we're running a little short on time, so we probably won't be able to give you sort of all of them, but Alex and I will highlight a few. You'll see PMCP office hours next Monday and the Monday after. And those are open sessions for you to ask any and all types of questions related to PMCP. So they're not structured and they're not trainings, and they're not just for PMCP leads. They can be for anybody. But they're a quick way for you to get answers on the spot, or for us to say, that's a great question, let us get back to you, and then we will get back to you. So please feel free to participate in those. And we've only got 3 of them listed, and we already did 1 this week. But if they continue to be popular as of 5/5, we'll likely continue those. So in addition to those open office hours, we've got more specific trainings, and they will all be interactive, and we will be having a place for you to try. So for example, if we're training you on formulas, we will have a place for you outside of your PMCP, but within the PMCP platform, to try a formula and to experiment and see what happens as you do things. And then, there will often be some assignments. So, for example, you say, well, in addition to, HUD Shelter Plus Care, we want to add an additional permanent supportive housing type to our eligibility matrix. And so then we might assign you with our help putting that into PMCP and seeing how that plays out. So we'll be offering anywhere between 2 and 4 sessions a week, and they will all repeat so that you'll have a chance you'll have multiple chances to attend. And if you miss 1 week, just know that it'll be offered again in a few weeks. We'll also be recording at least 1 version of each of these trainings so that you can go online at any time to really learn the basics. Alex, do you want to say a few words about this generally? I don't think we have time for specifics, but other thoughts.
Sure. I mean, in terms of just overviews of the other ones that that we're working on, I know there was a question earlier about understanding the inner workings of a lot of what's going on here in the system, and I think it's kind of what was asked is a split up of a lot of different things that are going on here. So, like working with formulas and scripting, such as just as Paul said, will give you an idea. The PMCP structure will give you an idea of the inner workings between the sheets and how that how they all interrelate, as well as the dashboards and visualizations, which will allow you to see what's going on within your community and how that affects the broader scope.
Yeah, I guess hopefully this gives you some comfort. So Jessica and I are not IT or programming people, and so there's nothing here that's super advanced because, frankly, we don't know it. I wouldn't say we're not stupid, and we're pretty savvy, but yeah, there's nothing here that's incredibly advanced. Great, and so would love to sort of spend most of and so we're going to post this on the system, the 25cities.com, and we will always, at least 2 weeks out, have the exact date and time for upcoming trainings. You'll see for things slated on 5/5 that we're still saying to be determined. We'll get that updated by Monday. and so that you can plan a little bit in advance. And we might also see if we can do the week of 5/12, just so that that's a little helpful for you all. And then, yeah, we will do a mixture of sort of fun, interactive assignments that are real. And then as you all become more comfortable with things, having you actually try some things with us, probably watching, actually in your PMCP, and we will see how it goes. But we look forward to all of that. So want to go back to the agenda. Great. And so we've been touching on this, but want to talk a little bit about, and get your feedback on, first of all, would you like us to, to put together a platform or a separate section of our website that really allows you all to speak just among each other and to learn from each other and post questions, comments, answers, suggestions? So first of all, I guess that is the question. Is this of interest to you? And I guess I'd say if it is, if you can just type in your name and yes, that's really helpful for us. And then I'd also say if you're not interested in this and would not want your emails shared with other PMCP leads, please definitely let us know that. We don't want to share without your information. So Community Solutions and Atlas, we do have your email, but we won't share your email with others without your information. But please opt out by just letting us know if you're not interested in sort of forming a community of practice to learn and share with other PMCP leads. And we will not hold that against you at all. And you can always opt in at a future time. So I can tell you a little bit about what we're planning, but want to get your feedback. So we will be, it looks like, and Atlas and other people other than us have been working on a sort of a platform to share questions and answers. And I did get verification from one of our contacts that yes, they can certainly segment out a part of the system just for PMCP leads, so that you all can share your unique experiences and maybe even sometimes frustrations with each other and get support. So there'll be more on that in the next week or so, but the idea is that it would be segmented out. It'll be categorized so that you can post questions in very specific areas, and so that it's easy to both monitor and find what you're looking for. So it won't just be like one long list of questions and answers, but will be a lot better organized than that. And getting a question with about whether it would be a monitored blog site, and yes. We will be helping to to ensure that it remains organized, and we'll be looking at it also to answer questions. And if we're seeing things commonly asked, we'll also add that to the overall PMCP FAQ. So want to open it up. If anyone has any ideas or ways that they've seen in other circumstances, working together virtually. Would love to hear your suggestions or thoughts. So another thing that I think we're going to be able to do and is probably have like potentially a single email address, like PMCP leads at VA25 cities or something like that, so that you can, that we can be in more easy contact with each other. Not going to promise that right now, and we'd want to use it sparingly, but do want to make it easier for you all to communicate with each other and for you to feel like yes, we are a cohort of our own because we're going through all of the same things, even though our communities are working in different places. Because 90 to 95% of your PMCP is going to be similar, if not downright identical. So we're almost out of time, but want to open it up one last time to any additional questions. And you all, unless you opt out, will be on our email list for future PMCP trainings and things like that. So that doesn't mean that you are the PMCP lead and you can opt out at any time, but just so you know that you might receive future emails, or you will receive future emails about upcoming trainings that are specific for PMCP leads. Great. Well, if there aren't any other questions, we will be sending several things to you next week, including as soon as the manual is up on our website. We'll let you know about that. And then don't forget, there are the office hours next Monday that you can go to. And we'll be posting that calendar, the link to the calendar on our website soon, and updating the exact dates and times for some of our upcoming trainings. So thanks, everybody. Happy Friday. I hope this gives you a sense of what you're in store for, both the good and the not as good, and how we really hope to work with you together and learn from each other to make this a really positive experience. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good weekend.